It's the soil. It's the earth we're all living on. And I think you can only mistreat it so far. You won't see any gullies on this place. I hadn't put anything in it in the way of new buildings and all, but I've sure done a lot to preserve the soil out here.
Here on his farm, surrounded by the cattle and the land, Dr. Jimmy Jackson lives his life no differently than he practices medicine. He gives more than he takes.
Well, I figure every tree you save ought to be on the roster when you get up there with St. Peter. I'm sure he's keeping it down, everything's against you. And I'm counting on him having my walnut trees and poplars and every piece of his land I had down here on earth, that I left it better than I found it. Now, it may not be enough to do me any good, but that's what I try to do.
And he's also tried to leave Dickson County better than he found it, just as he has cared for the land. The man known to his patients and neighbors as Dr. Jimmy has cultivated and nourished vision and values that grew from very deep roots.
We, as a family, were raised in South Pittsburgh, Marion County. And our parents were working people. My mother was a teacher, and our father was one of the skilled workers in the stove manufacturing plant over there. Our parents motivated all of us to acquire an education. When I started the medical school, the alumni paper down there had a little ad in it, says Dickson needs a doctor. There wasn't but 15 doctors in the whole county, and the youngest one was 65. The things that interested me was that they were not afraid of work, and they were neighborly, and they were honest. When I hung up my shingle down there, I told my sister, she was my nurse at that time, I said, now I'm hanging this thing up here, and the day I get to where I can't go, when somebody needs me, I'll pull it down.
Soon that shingle would have more than one name on it. Dr. L.C. Jackson's two younger brothers came to help him, and the course of health care in Dickson and surrounding counties would be forever changed.
They had this dream, and they made the dream come true. And I think they gave it more hard work than most people would have given it.
They felt like they was helping the people, which they was, and they did more for Dickson, Humphreys, and joining counties than any other three people that ever come to this country, you know.
Most people probably wouldn't have just worked day and night like they did. And they simply gave it all they had. That's it.
Report 6319.
If you follow the trail Three Brothers blazed, it will lead you through 60 years and into a world of modern medicine.
You've got the finest environment to work in here in the world. There's no better hospital anywhere you go.
I'm proud to have been part of this hospital for 18 years, and it's just, you know, a natural part of me, just like waking up every day.
There's a lot of employees here that have put their heart in this place. Some of them would almost die for this establishment.
A lot of us that have been here any length of time have a very large amount of our heart vested here, not just our time, or it's not all just about a paycheck.
Never has been.
I treated everybody alike. It didn't make any difference who they were. If they didn't have any money, I treated them just the same.
How y'all doing today? Good morning. Got the whole family here today. Who's this little one here? You don't want that baby for a weekend. My wife and I'd be proud to have that child. People sometimes aren't as well off as others or have the opportunities that other people do, and we respect that. If you come over here and you say, Dr. Jackson, my little wife's pregnant and I don't have any money, can you help us? We'll deliver that baby free for you. You shrug up your shoulders, okay? Shrug them up, good. That's been the philosophy here. We don't turn people away.
Never did.
I never sent out duns because they all knew what they owed, and most of them were honest and would come in and pay their bills.
Those honest people, brick by brick, would build Jackson Clinic, Goodlark Hospital, Goodlark Medical Center, and they're still building on a new horizon.
I tell my patients that this new addition that we have here, say, Mr. Jones, do you realize you put some bricks in that wall? It wasn't the Jacksons. It's you people in this town did this.
I never saw why you couldn't have a Mayo Clinic in Dixon, Tennessee. I've been to the Mayo Clinic, and it started in a town of 5,000 people. It was just two brothers had an idea.
Goodlark Medical Center also started with an idea, but it was not just a desire to build a big hospital with all the latest technology. It was much more. It was a concept to care for the community, be part of the community, grow old in the community.
Hello, Miss Berry.
In a sophisticated, high-tech, multi-million-dollar hospital, Jimmy Jackson passes time with an old friend.
How old are you, Miss Berry?
I was 80 in February.
Mm-hmm. Is the store still open?
Yes, sir. I've been there every day.
And you're going to be proud of that new hip when you
It's
get
all
it.
right. I mean, still go to the store. When
Sure, it's good for you.
Well, it's kind of like therapy. Being
Yeah,
with people.
sure it is. I understand. You're like your store like I am about doctoring, you
That's
know.
right.
From the days of sulfur drugs to the world of MRIs, DRGs, and CAT scans, Dr. Jimmy's been doctoring now for more than 50 years. He has weathered the passing of time and a terrible tragedy that left him to keep the fire burning for his brothers. And he's never been able to give it up.
He tried, but he is a people person, and he likes that interaction with people, and he gets that down here.
Certainly, Dr. Jimmy has friends outside the hospital and Jackson Clinic. Of course, he met most of them, like J.D. Littleton, when they were his patients.
Brought a mess of turnip salad.
J.D. and I have been friends, and I don't say that lightly, for a long time. Started with coon hunting, and I'm bad at getting lost. So I got to hunt with J.D. He's the kind you can put him in a sack, drive 50 miles and shake him out like a cat and he can find his way home. So I just naturally hooked up with him because I had somebody to find their way out of the woods.
And somebody who can find his way around a tractor.
Hey, J.D., I got a thing out here on this tractor where a hose has gone bad. I've got the part, I think, from over here at the supply place. Wonder if we could look at it, maybe put that on there.
We knew nothing about farming. He had never lived on a farm, ever. And I didn't know a thing in the world about it. The farm, of course, back in the early days, people didn't have the money to pay us in cash a lot of times. So that's how we started the farm. Maybe they'd bring a pig in to pay you for an office visit, or delivering a baby, or anything. We had to have somewhere to put the pig, or the calf, or, oh, this happened all the time, or chickens. And so that's how we got the first farm.
I can't place where that thing would be going.
It was the farm that gave Dr. Jimmy an escape from the pressure of complicated surgery and the stress of expanding Goodlark.
So when the tension would get too bad, he'd go out and watch the cows eat. That was his relaxation. He'd stand there on the fence and watch them chew. So, no, the farm has been the major thing that's kept him sane, I guess you'd say.
I was going to retire. I had a reason. I had this carcinoma and one thing and another, and it looked like I had everything to retire. I had farms, I had this, and I had a modest living. Yeah. So I retired, and the first thing you know, it wasn't going so good. And one day it dawned on me. I figured most people, if they retired, would retire with their fishing buddies, their hunting buddies, their golfing buddies, or something, see. It dawned on me I didn't have any of them. The only friends I had was my patients. So I scooted back down there to the fellow and said, let me back in the door. Treated everybody sympathizing with her and giving her a shot of Celestone.
When the door opened, Dr. Jimmy walked back in and picked up where he left off, taking care of his friends and even a few people he wasn't quite sure about.
Medicine hadn't been to me a cross to bear. I don't mean that everything you do just fills you with overwhelming happiness. I can't at times get over judging some of my patients. I think a true physician should look at it like this, that whatever this human being is here, no matter how no count he is, the Lord made him. So if I get to mend on him, it's quite an honor.
But just because it's an honor doesn't mean it's without sacrifice. Dr. Jimmy always worked hard, and he expected people around him to do the same.
There you go. He was so motivated that he motivated everyone else. You wanted to do good, and when you got a compliment for Dr. Jimmy, believe me, you earned it.
We worked 7 days a week, 10 hours a day, no time off.
And Dr. Jimmy, of course, is very, very patient-oriented, and from a nursing standpoint, we were there to take care of patients. And when a light came on in a patient's room, you were to answer that light promptly.
And at night, I would go home with an adding machine under this arm and a typewriter under this arm. We were so busy that we didn't have time we didn't have time to pay the bills or to do the payroll.
I've heard him say many times in years past that, you know, if you take care of Goodlark, we'll take care of you. And for my part, that's always been true.
Goodlark has also taken care of the community. Not a single school in Dickson County lacks the very best tools for teaching. The Goodlark Educational Foundation pays the tab that tax dollars cannot. This all came about after Dr. Jimmy made a simple observation.
I remember he telling me that when he was in school, he had a teacher, and she had a blackboard and chalk. And he said he walks into most of the classrooms now, and there it is, a teacher, blackboard, chalk, and kids. And same thing as we had 45 years ago when he was in school. And he was wanting to see some more modern innovations in our classes, more technology. And he's put a lot of technology in our schools, especially Dickson Junior High School.
From state-of-the-art technology to the latest books and maps, the foundation fulfills a basic need for education. It was a need recognized long ago by a couple who used their life savings to send 3 sons to medical school.
At that time, everybody was buying new cars, as in the days of the T model and A model. They used to bring the cars around to your home to show them. I remember a salesman brought one around the house there and trying to get Mama and Papa to buy it, and we children, their heart was aching for them to buy it. They shook their head no, had to save that money for education.
I didn't think I had enough brains to carry on the study load and work at the same time. And so my parents agreed to loan me $5,000. And I went through medical school on a little less than $5,000. And I got out of school and went to work in time to pay the money back so William could use it. And then he did the same thing so Jimmy could use it. So you might say we all three got a medical education on the same $5,000.
Now the work of those three sons has funded college and trade school scholarships for more than 800 young students.
You know, this first Goodlark's dedicated to our father and mother over there. There's a bronze plaque on the wall. And so you might say then this is our father and mother working for Goodlark. You might say then this is our father and mother working through Goodlark Educational Foundation.
Dad always said it just doesn't matter what it costs. Whatever you put into a program like that, it'll come back to you one way or the other many times over. I think it just reflects his understanding of the value of an education and how hard it can be for a family to pay for that education. It's not a giveaway program by any means, and it's just he views it as just a helping hand.
First school, the first town, the first big major plant that ever came.
Henry Reagan likes looking at the past. He keeps a black and white history on the wall at his friendly neighbor's store.
Here's the first transportation that people used to have, traveling around over the county. That's Jackson Drug across the street. And this is where Hodges Jewelers is now. That was the Mays Hotel, and it burned. And a fellow from Nashville burned up in there. And after that, they saw a ghost, and quite a few stories about that.
And when Henry Reagan starts telling stories about Dixon, it inevitably gets him talking about the Jackson brothers.
And Dr. Lawrence Jackson came here in the middle of the Depression and opened up a little office down the street here upstairs.
The first patient I had was a woman who'd been down here to Edgewood to religious gathering, and it was at night, and they still used lanterns for light, and of course that attracted a lot of bugs, and one of these bugs in his orbit flew into her ear. Well, the old doctor down there at Edgewood tried to get it out and failed, and she came up here to me, and the bug was just plastered back against the eardrum, one of those hard shell bugs. And every time you touched the bug, you could hear her squall plumb down the railroad station. So I didn't have an anesthetist, so I sent her on to Nashville. But boy, that kind of lowered my tail feathers. I was a failure on my first patient.
Well, he wasn't here but about 3 or 4 years, maybe not that long. They built the clinic in 1940, I believe it was.
On January 1, 1940, cold January day, Dr. Elsie and I opened up Jackson Clinic. And he was so proud. I can just see him standing out on the walk right now. Oh, he was just beaming.
On the day when Jackson Clinic opened, there was only one bed, a doctor, an optometrist, a dentist, a nurse, and of course, Miss Ann.
But on that particular day, people came from everywhere because we had not had a place for people to come and have their babies. We had not had a place that they could go have an x-ray or their lab work done or any of that sort of thing. So actually, we were proud of ourselves, and we should have been.
And then my two brothers, William and Jimmy, after they got out of the service in 1946, they came by and was going to work for me a while, let me take vacation. So they fell in love with the place and decided to stay here.
Just 1 year after Jimmy and William arrived in Dixon, Jackson Clinic was expanded to 25 beds, including a surgical unit. The three brothers were all working 15-hour days. They set up satellite offices in the small community of McEwen in Humphreys County, at Lyles in Hickman County, and Van Leer in Dixon County.
See, they did it when it was tough to do. It was real hard work then. You know, they'd go till they'd go to sleep on their feet.
About the same time, 1947, Dr. Elsie Jackson decided to run for mayor. Of course, he won, and the city of Dixon was about to change.
In 2 years, here's what they did. This would be the way you can judge LC. The Dixon Elementary School had been condemned, and the kids had been going to school in a basement of churches for 8 years. So they had a school designed and built while they were in there. They had a sewer system that emptied raw sewage in a little creek down here. They got a government grant to build a sewer system, which Dixon's using today. They brought natural gas into Dixon. They started garbage collection. They bought a new fire truck. McCord was running to be reelected governor, and they got him to pave a main street of Dixon. It's a pavement you see down there now. And when they went in, every department owed money. When they came out, the only department owed any money was street department. It owed $25. Now, you talk about what you want to be remembered for. To do all of those public things in 2 years is almost unheard of.
If you got all of those things plus education, your town will grow. And Dr. Lawrence Jackson, bless his heart, he had a vision like that.
And the need for health care in this revitalized growing city was bigger than ever before. So Dr. L.C. and his brothers kept on building. In 1956, they started construction on a 50-bed hospital that would become Goodlark.
Well, of course, you know how Goodlark came about. We had two ladies here that were cousins. They were Coxes. Ms. Otis Larkins was one of them, and Ms. Doy Matt Goodrum was the other, and they owned the property where Goodlark is. And the Goodlark came from Doy Matt Goodrum. They took the good, and the Otis Larkins, they took the lark and made Goodlark.
We thought that sounded kind of musical.
And Goodlark never missed a beat.
It took a philosophy that all of the physicians had here at the Jackson Clinic. It wasn't just the three brothers. It's every time they added someone to the group, he joined that philosophy and participated in that philosophy. And then the only doctors they got here were people with that philosophy.
That's the original Dr. Bell, and the place where he's standing now is the old Van Leer Depot. He's the father of Dr. Walter A. Bell, Jr., we call it.
Still got a heart, George. Good. Still got all your fingers and toes?
Yes. Have everything.
Dr. Bell says he too has everything he needs at Horizon Medical Center to practice quality medicine. He brought some of it with him.
They had a clinic hospital called Dixon General, and it just kind of went lockstep with us.
We started out this button heads direct competition, and now we're on the same side, I guess you'd say.
I always wanted to see us join together, and finally we did.
I think Jimmy's put all his efforts into making it grow. I don't know of anything we've needed he hasn't got for us.
We could see all of your chambers in your heart, the thickness of the walls, the valves, whether they open or close properly.
I don't think we take a back seat to anybody. We've got most anything we need right here. And I hope I'd rather have it done here where I can see it done right than have it done somewhere else. I don't know what's been done.
Through the eyes of a patient and the eyes of a physician, Dr. Bell has watched many changes since he followed his father's footsteps into medicine.
Never had any indication in my life that this would be like this, no. But back when you was running these roads, the country roads in the middle of snowstorms, all you do is hope.
And the success has gone even beyond his hopes.
We have got to take that last step here.
The last step would double the size of Goodlark Medical Center.
Goodlark has to expand. Jackson Clinic has to expand. The boards of trustees and directors of these two organizations, working together, have decided to step forward fast and furious in this next handful of years. This is demanded by our public.
But as the hospital moves to meet patient demands of the 1990s, it also faces a swiftly changing current in healthcare delivery. Managed care challenges hospital budgets nationwide, but at Goodlark, it is no surprise.
Dr. Jimmy and predicted the situation we have in medicine today years ago. Years ago, he could see this coming.
Not only did Dr. Jimmy have vision, he had developed over the years experience at overcoming challenges by recognizing solutions. To strengthen its roots against the storm, Goodlark formalizes an old friendship with Columbia HCA, and a concept conceived by a pioneer doctor in a tiny upstairs office becomes an important link in the world's largest hospital chain.
We knew at Goodlark that we had the lowest cost per unit of service of any hospital in the state of Tennessee. We had the numbers to back that up. What we learned during the close analysis that Columbia made of Goodlark prior to the purchase is that Goodlark has the lowest cost basis per unit of service of any hospital in the Southeast. That's pretty incredible.
Most of the facilities that I worked at in the past, this was their dream, to become the Goodlark of that particular community. A lot of them didn't make it. With all the changes in health care and Medicare cuts, a lot of these facilities are just destined to die because they do not have the capability, the financial resources, or even the community support to make them a viable hospital.
In the fall of 1995, with the opening of its latest edition, Goodlark Medical Center changes its name to Horizon, and the people of Dixon are invited to see what they have built.
On behalf of the Jackson families, Dr. L.C. Jackson and his family, Dr. William Jackson and his family, and my family, I want to thank all of you. I want to thank this community. I want to thank my medical colleagues. I want to thank all these wonderful patients we've had for the honors that's been bestowed on us. It's been a real privilege. Dr. L.C. Jackson started this with an attitude it was your privilege to serve humanity. He never vacillated from it. Dr. William came along and put a heart in it and kindness. And I came along, they just kept me working. And I am happy that HCA has Goodlark. I'm satisfied with the name Horizon. And I'm particularly happy HCA has it because in our dealings with them, it was absolutely honorable. And I think that they have the capability and the breadth to take care of this medical center in the future and in these angry waters that's fixing to flow around us.
It's sad to come to the sort of the close of an era like that, but personally, it was a little sad for me, but after thinking about it for about 10 minutes, I thought if Dr. Jimmy and the board thinks that's the best thing, then it is. It is the best thing.
Well, I'll say it brings a lot of pleasure to other people, and I like to see people enjoy my efforts.
Flowers, like people, like ideas, need cultivation and nourishment to grow. It may seem a small thing, but the care of the flowers surrounding the hospital has always been important to Dr. Jimmy. More than that, these gardens are reflective of the planting before the harvest.
We're going to take our patients' money that built this. We'll cash that out, you might say. We're going to use it for them a second time over here in a way that'll help their children, their grandchildren, their great-grandchildren on the way down the line, you see? So that's our plan. So it'll be Goodlark and Horizon will still be serving the public, just in a different way.
We want to build a technology center here in town that's just nothing in the state of Tennessee is going to beat it, where we will be computerized uplinked with everything there is that a small community could ever want for the future. It'll be the first in the United States like this. That's what we would like.
And the community continues to reap what Goodlark has sown.
Well, they say the Lord helps those that help themselves. Look at all the walnuts up there in that tree. Just look at them. They're going to fall down on the ground, and I'll guarantee you if you picked them up, took them to somebody, they wouldn't take them with hulls on them. Then it's so hard to crack a walnut and get the meat out of it, they wouldn't do that. Now, if you picked those up, hulled them, cracked them, put the meat in jars and took it to them, they'd say, oh, how nice of you. Now, I think that this year we've had a fantastic crop year. The berries were just everywhere. There's all kind of hickory nuts, there's all kind of walnuts. There's everything nature could grow this year is here. Now, I think the Lord must be telling us something. Everybody's been wondering when we're going to have another hard winter. I think that's tip-off. Now, those that in the old days who had taken advantage of this would make it through the winter.